I'm excited to be turning now to John Morton, who will speak on a topic very near to my heart, public lands. Um, John recently retired from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service after 32 years as a wildlife biologist. He first came to Alaska in 1984 to work on Arctic UNWRA's 1002 studies. He was most recently the supervisory biologist at Kenai, and I don't know Alaska well enough, clearly, where he focused on novel approaches to monitoring biodiversity and adapting to climate change. He participated in GAO's investigation of climate change impacts on federal lands in 2006 and on the Interior Department's Climate Change Task Force in 2007. He helped develop the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's strategic plan for responding to accelerating climate change and the National Fish, Wildlife, and Plants Climate Adaptation Strategy. We are so honored to have John here with us. Thank you for being here. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, thanks for that introduction, Michelle. I'm calling in Soldotna, which is Dena'ina lands. So let's jump right into it. Mass extinction is a poorly addressed outcome of climate warming. Extinction comes about because while some species move northward in latitude and upward in elevation, many others can't and do so slowly. Here we offer ideas to help sustain biodiversity, including actively moving species around. Next slide, Aaron. While polar bears are likely to go extinct in Alaska, other species like mule deer, which are not native to Alaska and have only recently migrated from Canada to Alaska, are now harvested here as of 2019. So perhaps the best solution is to prevent species extinction rather than conserve biodiversity in situ. What is needed is a truly continental vision that proposes that floral and faunal redistributions in a changing climate are transboundary. We propose a biodiversity conservation treaty that would be modeled after the Migratory Bird Treaty of 1916. Such a treaty signed by the US, Canada, and Mexico would promote coordinated international efforts to manage species distributions at a continental scale while sustaining ecosystem services. A lower hanging fruit is an executive order for the federal government to promote biodiversity conservation in their actions. This could be modeled after President Clinton's 1999 invasive species executive order. Next slide. To facilitate local scale action, the resist accept decision framework could be embraced by the Department of Interior as policy. The Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies just released an amended National Fish, Wildlife, and Plants Climate Adaptation Strategy that specifically highlights RAD as a go-to decision framework. Another need is to amend the 10J rule of the Endangered Species Act. ESA protections are not typically provided to populations which are reintroduced outside their historical range and are deemed experimental. The wood bison in Alaska is a great case study of why the 10J rule needs amending. Next slide. As a threatened species, wood bison cannot be introduced outside its non-essential experimental population boundaries, delineated here by the black lines. Yet after the release to interior Alaska in 2015, telemetered bison headed north, shown by the red line, stepping outside their historic range, a nod to changing climate. Next slide. A big bang for the buck solution to facilitate the President's 3030 initiative is to connect federal conservation units to ensure migration corridors for flora and fauna. In this example, less than 500,000 acres could contiguously link 64 million acres of existing national parks, national preserves, and national wildlife refuges in Alaska for posterity. Also potentially part of the 3030 initiative, an Alaska National Interest Oceans Conservation Initiative could be established by executive order, citing the Antiquities Act to create several permanent national marine monuments in Alaska's waters. These could be co-managed with Alaska Native tribes similar to the Northern Bering Climate Resilience Area, and even cooperatively managed with other Arctic Council nations. Next slide. Thanks. Lastly, we propose that grant funding be made available for pilot adaptation projects that could be overseen by the USGS National Climate Adaptation Science Centers. These funds would be passed to other federal agencies, NGOs, Alaska Native tribes, and local governments to try reasonable local scale actions that could be scaled up. One example is to test if walruses would use offshore floating or fixed platforms as haulouts in the absence of sea ice. A successful demonstration of one could potentially result in a stepping stone system so walruses could more safely migrate between Alaska and Russia. Thanks for listening.